Okay. Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, it's going live now. Um, Hopefully they'll get the notification that it's back on. Let me see. Let me look on my computer.
You're on now.
Yeah. No, I'm looking. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, it's up. You know what? Too. I should probably send a link to my Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, that way people in Facebook land can join in as well. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm posting it to Facebook now. Let's see. Well, why did it do it like this? Didn't even show. All right, I gotta edit that. Give me 1 second, everybody.
Okay.
Edit post. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's see. The Red Road East. The Red Road East is live on YouTube. Fierce Truth Seeker discusses Paper Genocide with Firebird, Grey Wolf. I'll say part two. Part two. Okay, there we go. All right, so sorry everybody. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back now. And so so I see we have someone new in the stream. So this is Joe. Pardon my eyes. My eyes aren't what they used to be at one time. Jode, is that Jode Middleton? Firebird, your eyes may be better than mine. Can you make out that?
No, I can't see that at all.
Okay, J. It looks like J O
I
A
can't
D, or
see
is it J A A D? Is it Jad? Yeah, my eyes are definitely not.
I can't
But yeah,
see
it's
any
Jad. It's Jad. Yeah. Now my eyes have focused.
focus.
Yeah, it's like how a camera, when you have to shake it in order for it to get into focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can see it. I
Well,
refuse to I refuse to wear glasses. Hmm?
on my end, I can't see any of your guests right now.
Oh, okay. It's Jeanette. Is that Jeanette? Is that Strong Bear? Is that Jeanette? Is that Strong Bear? Is that the Jeanette that we
Tell
know?
her she's tell her she's gonna
I am
live a long
on
time.
I am on higher profile. Is that Strong Bear? Wonder if that's Strong Bear. I don't know. Maybe it is. Yes. Oh, okay. That's Strong Bear. That's
Give her
Strong
my
Bear.
love.
Bright Eyes is yeah. Bright Eyes is friend. Remember?
Yeah, we were just talking about her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Give her my
yeah.
love.
She old Strong Bear. Yeah. Wow. Good to have you on the show. Yeah. So we got
OCO to heed you.
yeah, she's in the house. So yeah, so we was before we had the technical difficulty. Again, this is Fierce Truth Seeker, and this is the Red Road East, and we are discussing. This is part two of Paper Genocide, and so I was saying that the reason why I'm going to just also I was saying, we're using terms that's familiar to everybody. We're going to use terminology that new people who may be coming joining the discussion may not be familiar, maybe are familiar with, and they may not be familiar with the correct verbiage to use. So we're using terms that they can understand. So if we use a term like Indian or native or indigenous or whatever, it's just for clarity's sake. Or if we may say black, I don't use the term, but if my guest uses the term, you know that we do overstand and understand um, the fact that we are autochthonous to the land. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to just briefly go over what I said before we went off. I was basically saying that, my book goes in very heavy on paper genocide as well as many other topics in the book. It's been in the making for the past 30 years because of and Strong Bear, you were around. You definitely were around when this book was in its infant stages. And a lot of the information that I was including in the book back in the 90s and stuff like that are have to be revised because certain things that were not common knowledge among certain groups of quote unquote natives. We're talking about those of the Siberian persuasion. Certain things that were not accepted by them are common knowledge to them now. You know, um, Even though they still only have half of the story. When I say things that are common knowledge to them, like back in the days, it was not common knowledge to them that there were African runaway, quote unquote, African runaway slaves that mixed in with native peoples. And now I'm talking about those who did come over, even though we know that those percentages were small, there were some that did come over here um, in the quote unquote slave trade. And we know about the indigenous slave trade. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about those who did come over via the transatlantic slave trade. Those numbers were less than 5% here in North America. Okay, but that particular part of the story, those um, tribes out west and those outside of the quote unquote US borders were not familiar with even that, let alone us being autochthonous to the land. You know, those things were not common knowledge back then. Now they regularly accept that, and it's only because we were bombarding them with so much information till they had to at least accept that. But I was always arguing back then that we are autochthonous to the land. Okay, we're aboriginal to the land. Okay, and Strong Bear, you can bear witness to that. You were right there. As a matter of fact, we were we would spend time right up here in the Bronx at Huntington Library. Okay, right there in Parkchester. Okay, that's how far back I go back with the research. That library and museum isn't even there anymore. That's been down for, oh man, a long time now, like decades now. That's how far back I go in this, you know. And definitely Strong Bear, you were right there. You and Bright Eyes, you know. Um, but yeah, that stuff was not common knowledge to them. It's readily accepted now, but now they're having, they still haven't come to grasp with the fact that we are autochthonous to this land. Okay, there really is a lot of pushback, and again, I'm not here to bash anyone of that persuasion. We are here to find solutions. We're here to share this information so that that's why, see, this my particular television show is called The Red Road East because it archives and preserves the history, legacy, and culture of our people, the Aboriginal people or indigenous people, whichever one you want to use, east of the Mississippi. Okay. And my show deals east of the Mississippi and the Caribbean. Okay. Um, and on the mainland, it's the East Coast, you know. But I include the Caribbean in that because that's very much because that's the Americas too. Okay, so a lot of the information in the book, I had to revise because certain arguments and certain discussions are obsolete now. Okay, so that's why it's taking a little bit longer um, to complete the book, but hopefully by the summertime, by powwow season, the book will be published. Okay, and again, this is Fierce Truth Seeker, Red Road East. I have my guest Firebird Grey Wolf. Um, so Firebird, would you like to add anything to that discussion?
Yes, I would. I would like to read you something from the Jim Crow perspective of paper genocide of Native Americans. Okay.
Okay.
It states how Jim Crow practiced paper genocide against Native American Indians. Jim Crow laws were a set of oppressive laws that reclassified Native American Indians into the category of colored. Jim Crow reached their greatest influence during the decades of 1910, 1920, and 1930. Among them were hyperdescent laws defining as black anyone with suspected black ancestry, or even those with a very small portion of black ancestry. Tennessee adopted such a one drop statute in 1910, and Louisiana soon followed, then Texas and Arkansas in 1911, Mississippi in 1917, North Carolina in 1923. Fact, North Carolina vital records began using the one-drop law, laboring colored for
You're breaking up a little bit, Firebird. Can you repeat that one more time? Back like about 5, 6 sentences.
Okay, Jim Crow reached their greatest influence during the decades of 1910, 1920, and 1930. Among them were hyper-distant laws defining as black anyone with suspected black ancestry, or even those with a very small portion of black ancestry. Tennessee adopted such a one-drop statute in 1910, and Louisiana soon followed. Then Texas and Arkansas in 1911, Mississippi in 1917, North Carolina in 1923. Fact, the state of North Carolina vital records began using the one-drop rule law in labeling Indians colored before Walter Plecker initiated it in Virginia. Birth records were also delayed in states enforcing the one-drop rule. They were filed late to make these oppressive racial changes. The Virginia law, which allowed for delayed birth registrations, declared its own purpose differently. Its formal title was An Act to Preserve Racial Integrity, and it went into effect in 1924. This also occurred in North Carolina as well as in other states. Virginia began the one drop rule in 1924, Alabama and Georgia in 1927, and Oklahoma in 1931. During this same period, Florida, Indiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, and Utah retained their old blood faction statutes de jure, but amended these fractions 1/16, 1/32 to be equivalent to the one drop factor. The one drop rule was overturned in 1967, that late, by the U.S. Supreme Court. The one drop rule is illegal. But before this time, many Native American Indians were not allowed by law to claim a legal status as Indian due to white vital records officials and censor takers enforcing the one drop rule, and through government records suppress an Indian's native blood ancestry on official documents. So when people ask why didn't natives have records changed back to Indian, a law prevented this from being done. An Indian born before 1967 who wasn't living on a government regulated Indian reservation or in a community with a massive Indian population was forcefully listed as colored by the vital records offices. We are not black, we are not white, we are not Latino.
Yep,
So
exactly.
that's Jim Crow's contribution to paper genocide.
Yep, yep. And you know, the a lot of that is a lot of that stuff is what caused a lot of people to lose their nationalities, over time. A lot of the older folk, knew who they were, but they, a lot of times were hush hush about it. because of all the politics that was going on at the time, the killings, that was going on, when they found out that people were indigenous. So people just, a lot of the older folk didn't even tell their offsprings and stuff, unless you just really press them about it, or it just happened to come up in discussion by accident or whatever, or you know some another relative who remembered, they'll pass it along. But a lot of those people were tight-lipped about that stuff.
Not only that, they also had to protect their land because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Indian people were not allowed to have land. So they passed also for other races to be able to keep their land. I know that my great grandmother, she would sit at the table with her real long braids, white braids, with a shotgun, not allowing any white censor taker or mortgage giver or whatever on her land, and that was in Texas.
mm, mm.
And a lot of people think that the Texas Rangers pushed every Indian person off uh, through their organization, but that's another myth, another paper genocide.
Mm-hmm.
My people, they were from Georgia, Texas, the New York area. We intermarried, but we're
Mm-hmm.
still here, you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah,
much paper genocide. And
yeah.
they're still doing it, paper genocide, according to what tribes that you are in. Some tribes want you to be 1/16th, like Cherokee. They used to want that. Now it's, Oklahoma, who's on the family rolls. Some tribes want you to be 25% Native American. So that's another form of paper genocide going from tribe to tribe. They're still doing that today.
Mm-hmm.
Any
Mm-hmm.
way they can get us, they try to get us.
Yeah.
You know, if
Oh yeah.
it's, the Northern Ute tribe, they require you to be 5/8 blood quantum. Okay, the Muskogee of Florida, the Mississippi Choctaw, the St. Croix Chippewa, they require you to be one half. So, depending on what nation you're from, they
Yeah.
paper genocide you, not straight across the board, but any kind of way they can get you.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. We had a comment in here. LL Lewis says, "All my ancestors' death records say colored via Georgia and Louisiana." Yeah, yeah, colored. Um,
Colored, that means they're aboriginals, or
exactly.
other people say indigenous, or other people say Indians. The bottom line, they were the landowners with
Hmm.
that title,
Yeah.
colored. Even when Indians joined the Union Army, Civil War, they were listed. I mean, these people were quoted as full blood. Even then, you know, things are different now, but they were listed as colored unions. So if you read that in the book, uh, people associate the word colored basically being African American, if you want to use that term. I really don't like that, but that's what's
Hmm.
used. But
Hmm.
90% of the time, you were indigenous, aboriginal to this land, with the title colored.
Hmm. Exactly. That's what they had on my ancestors' records too. LL Lewis in Georgia. As a matter
Hmm.
of fact, in Georgia, they had the equivalent of Plecker was the Davis Racial Integrity Act, bill rather, um, and that was the equivalent of the Racial Integrity Act in Georgia, the equivalent of Plecker's um, Racial Integrity Act in Virginia. Yep.
In Virginia, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, if you had colored on those uh, 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 birth and death certificates and the records and stuff, then you know that's a telltale sign that you were indigenous, quote unquote. I'm using that term indigenous loosely. Yep, yep.
Well, I have witnessed some people, even today, censor takers still change their identity, what suits them by visual. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
if they see someone with an afro, they automatically put down that the person is African American.
Yeah,
One
exactly.
person I know put Indian down, and the censor taker came back next week and made them change what they were.
I wish they would have done that to me. I'd have chased
Oh
them
yeah,
right out. I'd have chased them right out of the door.
they're
You
still
know,
doing that
with
type
my
of
foot
thing, you
way
know.
up they behind. You know, for real. You know,
And
but
yet
yeah, they're still
you
doing
ever
it.
go in a bureaucracy and fill out paper forms, maybe medical or for some benefits or something, and they don't give you the option of you're either Black American, Latino, or white.
Oh yeah, when they do that, I put other and then I write it in. Or if they
Yeah.
don't have a box, I'll create a box and write it in.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
you can educate the people out there to do that, because a lot of bureaucracies are still doing that nonsense. They're better now, but a lot of them, if they can get away with it, they still get away with it.
Hmm.
Someone said, you said Davis Integrity Act. I see that popped up.
Yeah, yeah. I just highlighted that on the
Oh,
screen.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, yeah. The Davis racial integrity bill. Davis racial integrity bill. Let me put that in the chat. Give me one second. The I'll put at. Let's see. Give me one second. At L L Lewis. Um, the racial integrity bill. Oh, sorry. Bill of 1925. Yeah, so it's the Racial Integrity Bill of 1925. Yeah. Um so yeah. It's that stuff is still going on right
Very
now.
much so.
Mhm. Very much so, you know. And I still hear a lot of people in the among the tribes, um, still using a lot of the colorable terms, um, you know, um, uh, um, black, African American, and things like that. Um, so it becomes, like a mantra. And, when the census takers, they're so used to hearing that, it just becomes ingrained, in their heads, you
Well, they
know.
were actually trained to do that.
And they
So,
were trained to do that like they did
yeah,
in 1790. They were
right.
They'd get more money for
Right.
recording Negroes than they would, for recording Indians. You know, um, you know, so and like you say, it's still going on today.
Still going. I witnessed myself. And, it's a sad situation. And some tribes are even doing it to each other for land and casino.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. True. True.
Frida, it popped up now. Laugh out loud. I do that too. I also scratch out Black African American. Yep.
Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. I just, I create, I click other, check other, and write, and write it in, or I'll, just make my own box and write it. You know, that's what I do. Yeah. Um, and so a lot, part of the politics too, you know, we find like in this, where's that book? In the book, this book here, um, in Confounding the Color Line, I use this as one of the references in my book. Um, they show you some of the color politics, and give me 1 second. Let me turn to one of the pages. Like it says here, um, people with mixed ancestry fell. We know that that's part of the fiction too, mixed ancestries. I don't, I'm not, it's this is a book. I don't agree with 100% of what is in the book. You have to know how to decode this information. I take what's good and I leave the rest. But this particular book was referred to me by another elder, um, Sacagawea, Mother Kuala. She recommended this book back in the days, and it's um, it's a more comprehensive study in terms of the quote unquote, again quote unquote, Black Indian subject. Um, we know that that term is colorable. Um, I'm just saying it for clarity's sake. But she had recommended this book because it's more comprehensive than William Lauren Katz's Black Indians book. This one goes more in depth, and so you know one of the parts that stuck out in the book. As you can see, I've been all over this book. It's got serious dog ears, all kind of. You see all the highlights, and you can see the dog ears, and you
Oh,
see
yeah.
all the highlights. I've been all over this book. But I'm gonna read one of the passages here. Um, it says, "People with mixed ancestry fell between the cracks of triracial of the triracial system of classification that existed in Indian territory at the turn of the 20th century. This system pushed individuals into categories that did not reflect their personal experiences or their familial connections. The rules of hypo descent played out in such a way that people with any degree of African American blood were usually classified exclusively as black. For example, 3 out of 4 possible multiracial ancestries would result in an individual with a black social classification. And here if you look, you'll see how they break down the racial classifications here. Um, let me put it up a little close in here so that you can see it. See if y'all can.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, let
Pull
me.
back a little bit, I think. Black,
So if you can see there, it says black.
black,
Hold on, let me
black
hold it here.
Indian.
I'm trying to get it in there. Yeah, black. If you were mixed black and white, you were black. Black and Indian, you were black.
Mhm.
Black, Indian, and white, you were black.
You were black
But if you were Indian and white, you were Indian.
Indian.
You see that?
Yeah,
And that politics goes on today. You see it every day
yeah,
in you know among the tribes.
right. But that's
Okay.
not necessarily a good thing because I can think of it as well, Indian and white. That means you still saying an Indian is not good enough to be white, so he just got to be Indian. It's just
Mm,
continuous racism.
yeah. Then it says, as indicated in this generalized chart, multiracial multiracial individuals with black ancestry were always black, while those with white ancestry were never whites. As one as one Cherokee freedman descendant put it, this is America, where being to any degree black is the same thing as being to any degree pregnant. In a similar vein, with Native American and white ancestry were often classified as Indians, in part because whiteness was seen as an empty cultural and racial category. Whiteness was taken for granted. Um, oh, my eyes. Whew.
We're in the same
Homogenic,
boat.
homogenic identity that was no longer marked. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it goes in further. This is one of the books that I usually have on my table when I'm vending,
Right.
Confounding the Color Line. Um, again, I don't agree with, the colorable terms that they use in there, but if you can get past that, it's got some pretty good information in it. And again, I use it as a reference in my particular book that I'm writing. um but that's how it is. um if you're highly melanated, they there is this, you're seen as not being pure. But the lighter you are, then the more pure you're seen. You're seen as, oh yeah, more indigenous. you know um and it's a shame, up in this day and age, you still have that nonsense going on. And I know
Well,
you've seen it.
yeah, I've seen it. I've lived it. And speaking of that, here's something that says real Indians and fake Indians, blood quantum. Okay, until 1934, blood quantum played no real role in determining tribal citizenship. Referring to someone as part Indian is based on a European idea of indignity meant to perpetuate genocide. It was chalking up to be an average afternoon of light reading until I came across a headline that changed my life. The headline said, Bill removes blood quantum requirement of citizens of 5 civilized tribes. As a citizen of the Chickasaw Nation, one of those 5 civilized tribes, I sat in my chair completely still. Then I sprang up and sprinted to my sister's room, shouting the exciting news. Now we can marry anyone we want. Our children could be Chickasaw no matter what. You see, for most tribal nations, one must possess a specific purity of Indian blood in order to obtain tribal citizenship. This is calculated by adding up all the Indian blood in a person and dividing by two for every generation. This system is called blood quantum. For example, if my mother was one-fourth Indian and my father was one-half Indian, then my blood quantum would be three-eighths Indian, a little less than my mother. Many tribes have a minimum blood quantum requirement for determining citizenship. Because of this, my sister and I were told that we must have children with another Chickasaw or else our children would lose their culture. In fact, my family spread a rumor that we were the last in our bloodline who could keep our Chickasaw citizenship. Blood quantum became the dark cloud looming over every romance. No matter who I dated, maintaining Chickasaw citizenship was my primary worry. So when I discovered that blood quantum had been called off, it was incredibly liberating. I had a non Indian girlfriend at the time, and it felt like 1,000 pounds had been lifted off my shoulders. In actuality, the Chickasaw Nation does not use blood quantum to determine citizenship. It was just a family rumor. The headline actually referred to land ownership requirements, a legal milestone, but not one that directly applied to me. Unfortunately, I was raised with the pain that most Native American youth live with every day. Biologically speaking, there is no such thing as blood quantum. Biological traits are not split in two when one has children. Determining tribal membership through blood quantum only makes sense if you believe that someone's behavior, culture, and claims to nationhood are based on race and racial purity. This is a highly problematic concept that Europeans brought with them across the Atlantic. Tribes did not use blood quantum to determine citizenship until the mid 20th century. So, why do blood quantum laws exist? Blood quantum laws were invented to further genocide against Native people. They were first implemented in the Virginia colony 1705. Anyone who possessed one half or greater Indian blood was deemed to be a legally inferior human and could have their civil rights stripped away. Colonists saw Native Americans as an obstacle in their path to North American domination, so removing these rights was a crucial step in solving the Indian problem. After its colonial inception, references to blood quantum were made sparingly throughout the early 19th century. It wasn't until the Dawes Act of 1887, DAWES, that the federal government heavily relied on blood quantum. Through the Dawes Act, the United States abolished tribal governments and broke up communal tribal lands into individual land allotments. Then land allotments were given to those who possess a high enough degree of blood quantum. Land allotment policies crippled Native American tribes. President Theodore Roosevelt called land allotments a mighty pulverizing engine to break up the tribal mass. Land allotment is responsible for removal 90 million acres of land away from Native American people. Corrupt government officials stole or withheld land. Additionally, the federal government brutally forced Indians to assimilate into white society so blood quantum requirements became increasingly difficult to maintain. For the Chickasaw Nation, a one-half blood quantum was required to keep an allotment until 2017, only 2017, when the law was overturned. This was the landmark decision I had read about. To decide blood quantum, white government officials had the final say on one's true Indian blood. If the commission didn't believe a self reported blood quantum, they used physical appearance to determine if someone was purebred. Well, that's what the census does. Enough to claim an allotment. Thus, many blood quantums were recorded incorrectly. To remove Indian people, the government decided to remove their land and consequently attempted to remove their culture. The fact that Native American tribes exist today defies all European logic. It is a testament to the strength of non European notions of belonging. Until 1934, through blood quanta played no real role in determining tribal citizenship. Tribes have many different ways of claiming someone as a citizen, none of which put emphasis on race, an idea which European colonists enforced tribal citizenship requirements included being born within a tribal nation's borders, being adopted into a tribal nation for members of other tribes and Europeans, marriage, lineal descent, being related to someone who was a tribal citizen. Tribes gave the same considerations and responsibilities to everyone who became part of their nation, no matter how they claimed citizenship. Then in 1934, the Indian Reorganization Act allowed tribal governments to exist once again. It also brought blood quantum into center focus. The act advocated for the end of land allotment and for the adoption of tribal constitutions modeled after the United States. Although the Indian Reorganization Act allowed tribes to set their own membership requirements, it strongly encouraged the use of blood quantum. Setting strict blood quantum requirements saved the government from annuity payments for stolen lands and from giving aid to tribal nations whose economies they destroyed. The Dene, which is the Navajo Nation, did not adopt a constitution with a blood quantum requirement until 1950. Some Native American people support blood quantum. It is seen as a way of preserving Native culture from European dominance and destruction. One should not question the desire to prevent this from happening again, or a tribal nation's inherent right to self govern and set its own citizenship requirement. Race is a social construct, but it has real and important implications. However, this does not change the fact that blood quantum was invented by Europeans to destroy Native Americans. And the article goes on and on.
hmm We have a couple of questions. Um, I'll put one up on the screen.
When did the colonizers receive the white status? Wasn't it into the 1860s? No, they were already calling themselves white. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Even back, going back to Europe.
Europe. It goes back to Europe.
Yeah, those who were, and it didn't even have to do with your skin color. Those that were at the upper echelon of society in the ruling class, they were classified as white. Those that were at the bottom were classified as black. So, in places, let's say, like even in European places such as Hungary, they would you would have two groups of Caucasian people. Um, The ones who were in the ruling class, they were called white, and the other Caucasian people who were at the bottom, at the slave class, or the serf and peasant class, at the lower rungs of society, they were called blacks. Yep, I have that documented. I talk about that in my book as well. You have another question too, Firebird.
What is the name of the document?
Hmm.
Okay. This article was, I have several articles. It was in a magazine called Willian. I'll have to try to backtrack and find it for you.
Was that Llewellyn?
Yes,
Okay, Llewan.
AN, yes. I was in the process of trying to send it to you when they asked the
Mm.
question.
Oh
So I
wow.
lost the page.
Oh man.
I'm going to
Wow.
find it for him so he can give it to you. That's K Stowe.
K Cito, it looks like. Wait a minute, let me see. No, K pardon my eyes. K Sto. STO. It looks like STO. Pardon my eyes again. Yeah, my eyes are coming into focus now. STO. Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to have to backtrack that because I had put a lot of things on here to share with his audience tonight.
Yeah. She's gonna, don't worry, y'all. She's going to send it to me, and I'll share it with y'all. And plus, this is not going to be the only discussion. We're gonna this will be an ongoing discussion, just because there's just so much misinformation regarding who we are here on the East Coast, you know. And again, we're not looking to bash anybody. You won't hear us calling anyone's names, or anything, unless they just happen to come at us. That's different. But you we're not here to bash anyone. Um, outside, east west of the Mississippi, or outside of the quote unquote U.S. borders. We're not here to do that. We don't even want to feed into anything like that. We're just trying to inform people of our experience here on the East Coast. That's all we're gonna do. We don't want to put out any negative vibrations or anything. We want to keep everything on a positive, keep everything high, and just share information. That's all
Oh,
we want to do.
I found it. I found it.
Okay.
They want me to send it to you, or do they have an email? I can send it to them, or I'll send it to you.
You send it to me, and
Okay.
then I'll include it in the next presentation.
Okay.
Or maybe what I'll do is put it in the community page.
Okay, the article is called Real Indians and Fake Indians. So I'm sending it now.
Okay. Where are you sending it to?
Your email.
Okay.
Well, actually, you have two emails. You want me
Yeah,
to
yeah,
send
yeah,
it
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
both?
yeah, 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 yeah. You can send it to either one.
Okay. I sent it to both
Oh,
emails.
okay.
And the article goes on longer than what I wrote that
Mm. Oh,
that I
okay.
spoke of.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see here. What else do we have? Okay, we have a Vixen 99. Not to cap, but as I do my research, it appears they called melanated Europeans black, and our ancestors slash U.S. copper colored, uh, us copper colored swarthy. I know they have some dark skinned indigenous here, but black. Um, yeah.
Are they talking about the Moors?
Um, I guess. But actually they did. Um, yeah, they did that too. But also, like I said earlier, um, what you call today, I'm talking about pale skin. What I was referring to as pale skin Caucasians in Europe. They actually um, called the pale skin Caucasians. I'm not talking about the melanated ones, the Moors. I'm talking about the pale skin ones. The
Mhm.
ones that were in the ruling class, they would label them as white, and the ones on the lower class um, as black. Um, you know, I'm talking about in the earlier times. Of course, things switched up as time progressed and it became more equated with uh, those of higher melanation. Um, but, before that time, you know, the, um, the pale skins, they would be classified as black if they were on the lower class. Yeah. Um,
Maybe you could tell them a little footnote of the history of the Moors in Europe and their power.
yeah. Well, I think wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. My screen is getting. Oh, I know what it is. Give me 1 second. My power, because this hasn't been plugged in. Give me a second. Let me just plug the laptop in before we get
I'm
cut off.
I'm all plugged in too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we have that technical difficulty again.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Woo! Oh man, we almost got cut off because
I
the
ran and charged mine.
yeah, the battery was like, You know how you see, like, the you'll have like full will be from here to here. It was just like right there. That's why the screen started getting dark. Yeah. Um, Give me one
We were
second.
talking about the Moors' effect on Europe.
Oh yeah. Well, the Moors had shoot, if it wasn't for the Moors in Europe, we shoot, the people that you call Caucasian today would be, I don't mean any disrespect. Let me just put that out there. I don't mean any disrespect. Um, but they would be a totally different manner of man. Um, because the Moors came with the knowledge of, they brought high culture, you know, civilization, high culture, the knowledge of soap and water, you know. I
Oh
seriously,
no, I'm laughing because it's so true.
yeah, if there are any people listening of Caucasian persuasion, I don't mean what I'm saying as any type of disrespect. I'm just giving you the history of, the Moors' contribution in European history. They came with, the Moors had an affinity with water. Okay. Um, and they had the public baths and stuff like that, and they brought the knowledge of soap and water. And the Europeans at that time, it was not customary for them to bathe. Okay. um and one of the queens, I forget which queen it was, she was boasting. um she said, uh I took my first bath at the age of 12. She took her first bath at the age of
Oh,
12. And that was like, oh, wow, you took a bath early, and, because a lot of them didn't bathe at all. It wasn't customary, you know. Um, so the Moors, had to come and bring the knowledge of, soap, water, things of that nature. They brought, highly advanced technology there and everything, you know. And I'm not making this up. There's a book that's out of print. You'll be very lucky if you could find this book. It's called Dirt, Dirt. That book has been out of print, and that's why I say I'm not telling you anything that is not historical. I don't mean to any type of disrespect about what I'm saying.
I'm
But
laughing. I'm laughing because fact is funnier than fiction.
fact is
That's
funnier
that's
than
why I'm
fiction.
laughing.
Yeah, and even to this day, I know certain people of that persuasion who have even told, who have even said, personally, that it was not customary in their family to bathe. And up to this day, they are
Correct.
not very fond of bathing. So I'm not saying that, it's not a disrespectful thing, you know. Even if you read, and I'm not read, even if you look at the movies on it's in Netflix or Amazon Prime. I think it's Amazon Prime. They'll probably take the movie down after I reference. The movie is called El Cid,
CID.
LELCID. Okay. And when you look at that movie, you're gonna see the Moor there. And he's there with one of the Europeans there, the Moors looking regal and stuff like that. And they're talking about bathing and stuff like that. And the European is talking about I'm not talking about the Moor. I'm talking about the Caucasian. He's like, oh, all this bathing and bathing and bathing and stuff. Who needs to take a bath? And he's he's going on about how ridiculous bathing is. Um, So I'm just referencing that to give you something else, another historical reference. Go see that movie, and you'll see that I'm not trying to be uh, uh, um,
The
prejudiced.
aristocrats didn't believe in bathing.
Right.
It was more or less the common man of European persuasion, white, that would would bathe before the aristocrats would. So,
Um, it was, from what I understand, and I could be wrong. I think it was the other way around, um, if I remember correctly. Um, the aristocrats. I could be wrong. I believe it was the aristocrats that were the only ones that would be allowed to bathe, because if I remember correctly, I think it was outlawed because the Moors were big on bathing, and they said um, bathing is a sin. They said it was of the devil
well, I
because
know
they
that the
referred.
aristocrats thought that it was a sin, you know,
Yeah, they said it was of the devil.
and
Um,
it's my teachings, they didn't partake in it, it was more the common man that was close to the water, fishing or whatever, that would
yeah,
partake it.
probably so. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I do know that the aristocrats would talk that mess, but would be bathing in private. Even though even though it would just be like maybe once a year. You know. Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that in any disrespectful manner. Um, it's just historical, and plenty of other things that the Moors contribute so much, in terms of music, fashion, all that stuff. They call it European fashion and music. It didn't start with the people that you see today in Europe. That was the Moors. All that fashion and stuff. All that music and that Spanish music, that nice Spanish music that you hear. That was the
Comes
Moors
from the
music.
Moors.
Yeah, all of that comes from the Moors. Um, so that's just brief. I don't want to get. We can deal with the with the Moors on another show. I don't want to deviate too far from the topic, because we could go on with that for forever. Um, but I want to stay on topic with the paper genocide, at least for this discussion. Um, and the history of our people on the East Coast is something that is seriously neglected in books on quote unquote Native Americans, you know, and it's going to take a while for the other tribes on the west, out west, and outside of the East Coast to really understand um, our particular legacy here, you know, and it's going to take more than just one show, or two shows, you know, because this particular history of the East Coast, it goes deep. It's very in depth, and what they did to our people in terms of denationalization, and what our people did, in terms of just not even discussing who we were, in terms of nationality. You know, it was a very traumatic experience, and they would go through such extremes, Um, so they had stuff like, I'll give you an example. Like you had to pass certain criteria in order for you to be able to claim that you were Indian. You know, you had to pass the paper bag, the brown paper bag test. You know, um, you had to pass the pencil test. You know, where they would take a pencil and they, when I talk about this in the book too, they would take a pencil, they put the pencil in your hair, and let me find the prop here. Give me 1 second. So they would take the pencil. Here's a pen here. You can pretend it's a pencil. And if the pencil stood up in your hair, then you're not Indian. Now, if they put the pencil in your hair and it fell down, then yeah, your hair was straight enough to be classified as an Indian, you know, or the comb test. You know, if they took a comb and it passed easy through your hair, you're Indian, you know. But if it, you had to jerk it a little bit, you know, it had too many kinks in it, you didn't pass the test. That's how serious it got. You know, yeah. I'm telling you, I reference all that stuff. And Strong Bear, she's in the chat right now. These were, I came across this stuff in documents when we were at the Huntington Free Library, right up here in
They
the
got
Bronx
rid of
in
that.
Parkchester. You remember you
They
lived
got
out
rid
here
of
in the
that
Bronx.
library very fast.
You were there too, right?
Yes,
You had been to that library. They had
yes,
so many
so
documents.
much.
Man, me and Strong Bear would be in that library like till the time they would close. They used to kick us out. Yeah, and I would come across all of those documents. They would have the racial integrity laws, and shoot, man, I ain't even have enough money to copy all of that stuff, man. It was like you had to have all the quarters, and I think each copy was like a quarter.
Lonnie
you
used to
know,
be there all the time too.
yeah, he sure did. Yep, he sure did. But yeah, these are all of the stuff I came across when I was doing my research. I'm like, man, this is, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like
That's they sound
like
like witch hunters.
yeah, like one of the viewers here say, Chanel, yeah, this is ridiculous stuff. Yeah, it is ridiculous. And it was ridiculous when I was,
Chantel, if you only knew.
if you only knew exactly. If you only knew. Yeah. A pencil test and a comb test. Brown paper bag test. you know. And
Their
this was
ancestors
real,
had to be a part of the Salem witch hunt.
you know,
That's what it sounds like.
and this was real stuff that actually happened, during the Plecker racial integrity time and stuff. You know. Yeah, let me I gave the classic point reference last time that we did the discussion when you were on here, and they were
Yeah.
talking about and we were talking about Mildred Loving,
Yes, yes, we were
and
talking
how
about Mildred.
if anyone saw that movie Loving, okay, it was about Mildred Loving from Virginia, um, and her husband who was Caucasian.
Yeah.
Um, they wanted to get married. This was in Virginia. They wanted to get married, but because they had the racial integrity laws, they were not able to marry. And so they had to, they went through hell and high waters to actually be able to marry. And
I
they
think
have.
in Washington D.C.
Right, exactly. And but throughout that whole movie, they referred to her as an African American,
Right.
when in actuality, she was one part of one of the Virginia tribes.
Yeah.
Okay, and they didn't mention that, not even once in the movie.
No.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna read to you this article here.
Same thing about Rosa Parks.
Right. This is an article. Um, it's entitled "Mildred Loving's grandson says she wasn't black," and this was published in November on November 4th, 2016. Okay, and says here, the subject of a major Hollywood film, and more importantly, Loving versus Virginia, was not black, her grandson says. WWBT sat down with Mark Loving, Mildred Loving's grandson. He says he was raised by his grandmother, who identified as Native American.
Mm-hmm.
I know during those times there were only two colors, white and black, said Loving. But she was Native American. Both of
Mm-hmm.
her parents were Native American.
Mm. Yeah.
And says in 1958, Richard Loving, a white man, married Mildred Jeter, a woman of color.
Yes.
The move was a violation of Virginia's Racial Integrity Act, but the Supreme Court's ruling invalidated laws prohibited prohibiting interracial marriage across the country. While Mark likes the overall theme of the movie, which is set to release nationally on Friday, he says there is no evidence of his that his grandmother was African American.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, he says his grandmother always identified as Rappahannock Indian.
Mm-hmm.
Richard and Mildred's DC marriage license also lists Mildred as Indian. And I have that
Indian.
record. I put it in my book. I show you
Oh
the
wow!
actual, yeah.
Awesome.
I put the marriage certificate in the book so you can see it for yourself, that it actually does have her recorded as Indian.
Indian.
Um, Mark also says that if his grandmother were alive today, she'd be upset at how she's being portrayed. She wasn't trying to be no hero. This is a quote. He's in quoting. She wasn't trying to be no hero. She wasn't trying to be no civil rights activist, he said. She just wanted to come back to Central Point, Virginia. And yeah, that's the end of the article. But yeah. So, you know, that is how they did, our people. You know, that's how they did our people. They
And
would
still doing it.
and still doing it. Yep, and still doing it. Yeah, it's crazy. But you have anything to add to that? Oh, again, let me also reintroduce you, because we have some new people who joined in on the conversation, that weren't in on the last conversation and were not present when we first started the discussion tonight. So let me reintroduce. So again, I am Fierce Truth Seeker of the Red Road East, producer and host of the Red Road East television program. Okay. And also the producer of the YouTube channel as well. Now, I am joined with Firebird Grey Wolf, who is a card carrying clan mother, okay, card carrying indigenous tribal member. We're not going to say her tribe because she is here as an individual and does not have the permission to speak on behalf of her tribe. So she's here speaking as an individual and not representing the tribe that she is a part of. Okay. But she is an quote unquote indigenous American clan mother. She is also a dancer, an activist, a storyteller, a craftswoman, okay? And she's also my godmother, okay?
Historian.
Historian, okay? A long list, that I know I'm leaving stuff out. A dancer, okay? An
A
indigenous
fun
dancer.
person.
Exactly, exactly. And so, when
That's the
she's,
most important thing.
yeah. So when she speaks, she's not speaking from someone from the outside looking in. you know, she's you're hearing the information from the horse's mouth. Okay. And so, yeah, so I just wanted to reintroduce you because, of the fact that we have new people who have joined in on the conversation. Did you want to add anything more to your bio?
Some things I can't say, but it's a long list.
Yep. Yep. I know that for a fact. It is a long list, a very long list.
But I'm here enjoying being with everyone on the same level, enjoying each other, learning from each other. It's a wonderful experience.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. And yeah, for those who are just joining,
OCO Frida,
Shio
Creator
Frida,
bless.
Frida
That's
M,
pretty smile.
Shio.
Look at that pretty smile. Beautiful.
Yeah. Um, for those who are just joining, I'm testing out this StreamYard. I mean, you all have seen me on StreamYard for the past year and a half now. However, the StreamYards that y'all were seeing were done by the television station. Okay. Um, I just started my own personal account with StreamYard. So
Wow.
now I'm testing this stuff out, because technology is my Achilles heel. So, I'm just playing around with this stuff. I'm like a child with a new toy. And so I'm just, seeing how this live thing goes. And I have my godmother with me, and we just wanted
Wanda.
to, yeah, wow. And we just wanted to share information with you all, and we wanted to share information, not just with those of us of higher melanation, but also those who are not of higher melanation, and we just want to get the story out in terms of what was done here on the East Coast in terms of paper genocide, and why there is, always a disconnect between those of us here on the East Coast and those out west and those outside of the quote unquote US borders, you know, um, and bring some clarity. And we're not trying to bash anyone, or anything like that. We are just here to share and enlighten. Am I right, Firebird?
You're right.
Yep.
That's what we're about.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to bring us together because you know my philosophy. If we ever get marched out again, every tribe had their trail of tears. And if that happens again, they're not going to care about who has Siberian eyes, Mongolian eyes,
Mm-mm.
straight hair, kinky hair, light skin, dark skin, brown skin. They're going to march all of us out.
That's true. That's true.
Once
Very
you
true.
have that Aboriginal title or Indigenous title, you still, it's like you saw me reading uh, how they think and
Mm-hmm.
how they're doing paper genocide to erase you from paper. They physically removed us as well,
Mm-hmm.
and they would do it again in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat. That's true.
I have a young friend. He's a sachem, and he's also going to be a lawyer. And he was fibered. Oh, but the laws, they've been laws. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Cherokees won in court in Georgia. They won in court. The judge sided with the Cherokees in Georgia. Andrew Jackson had his own plans, and he marched us out of Georgia for
Mm-hmm.
gold. So money is a big factor. Land is a big factor.
Very big.
And
Very big.
once again, I'll say if people are doing this to divide from each other based on land and casinos, it's just not happening. They're only going to give a certain amount of allotments to who they feel that they can keep track of, uh, and give some federal recognition. And they're not going to do that to everyone.
True.
So you might as well try to get along with each other and build as a people. You
Yeah.
know, build as a people because everyone is not going to be able to get those benefits. And even many tribes that are receiving those benefits, they're still living in squalor. Some reservations are doing well and some are doing terrible to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Alcoholism, high rates of suicide. I mean, it hasn't stopped from day one since reservations were formed. So it's it's up to us to come together.
Oh yeah.
That term Black Indians that didn't exist before the '90s, and now it's like rampant. People are running wild with the statement Black Indians. It was no such thing. William Jack only gave that term because he thought he was helping his students acknowledge their Indian blood by including the word Black Indians.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that term before.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
term, he meant well, but that term is causing a lot of division
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
a lot more hate for each other instead of coming together.
Yeah, yeah, he did. He did. I didn't know him personally, but I'm pretty good with feeling people's vibes. I had heard him on the radio, back in the '90s. On different programs, and I felt that he was sincere in what he was trying to do.
He was
But
sincere.
it was, it didn't it did caused a lot of strife, and it also, helped with denationalization, you know.
Yes.
Um, I know he meant well because he did. That wasn't his only book. He did
No.
books on the black
The
cowboys and
Cowboys, exactly.
things of that nature. Which is a very that book is that's a powerful book.
Yes.
If you can get past the title, it's got a lot of good information. And
And even with his research, he didn't researched well enough to know that people with negroid features, as they call it, were already here.
Exactly. Exactly.
He felt like he discovered something very new,
Right.
because
No,
so
it
many
wasn't.
students, it was old news, but that category just I don't even know what to say. I'm sure if he was alive now, he might even rethink that title.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would. And like I say, he meant well. I guess because he wrote, the book about the black cowboys and the other stuff. That he was, trying to uh, give, what's the word I'm looking for?
Recognition.
Recognition and boost the self esteem of his students of higher melanation. Um, and you know um, but again, like you say, we were already here. you know and that book on the black cowboys, I'm pretty sure it
They
played
were
a lot.
already here too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that helped to inspire in the making of that movie that just came out, with Idris Alba, that all star lineup on
Yes,
the quote
yes,
unquote black
yes.
cowboy. Did you see that
Right.
movie?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. What's the name of that movie? It was a good movie too, man. That was a good movie. Hold on, let me ask my wife. What was the name of that cowboy movie? Kadig, Kadig. What was the name of that movie that we were watching about the cowboys? She's in the back. Hold on one second.
Thank you, Frida. She says she's enjoying the conversation.
You remember the name of that movie that we were watching on the Cowboys, Black Cowboys? Okay. Oh, did I wake you up? I'm sorry.
Tell her I'm sorry too.
Yeah, Firebird. Sorry too. She's gonna look to the harder they fall. Was that the name of it?
That's funny. I just saw it
I'm not.
on the internet 2 days ago.
Let me see.
They were crediting him for all the roles he's played.
That was it. Okay, it is the harder they fall. Okay, it is the harder they fall. Yeah, thank you to Adrian Jackson. Yeah, the harder they fall. That was a good movie, man. I just
Hi, Adrian.
the only thing I didn't like about that movie is, okay. Let's first say that the movie was fiction, but the characters were real characters.
Real.
Okay. Um, what I didn't like about the movie is that, you know they were fighting each other. That's the only thing I didn't like about the movie. You know, Idris Alba was, trying to make it where, you know, they would take back from the Caucasians, the land and this, that, and the other, and what was rightfully theirs, blah blah blah. But what I didn't like was, as they do with all these movies, it can't be all positive, when it's they always got to throw something in there, in these movies, to it's kind of like a ritual. They always got to throw something in there to make our people be in a negative light, or something
Always.
dehumanizing, or something that causes division, It's all part of their ritual, you know. But what I didn't like was that, they were fighting each other, you know.
Right.
Why couldn't it just have been them against, the Caucasians, that took their land and this, that, and the other? I'm not saying Caucasians because they are Caucasian. I'm talking about,
Yes, I
in terms of,
understand.
getting back what was rightfully theirs. You know, that's what I mean. But they couldn't let it be that, you know.
No,
Um, so they had to throw that in there, and they'd be like, hey, if
that's
you want
that's
the funding for this movie,
that's why we need our own production companies.
well, that's what we are working on,
Yep, we're
working
working
on
on
trying to
that.
get the funds up to be able to do that. It's not easy, you know, but that is,
I
you
reached
know,
out to Spike Lee, I told you years ago, but no response about that. You know,
yeah, that's crazy.
the Buffalo Soldiers.
That's crazy. You know, you would have figured that he would have. Well, maybe, who knows? Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was,
Probably his
maybe,
secretary. They took
right. Maybe
his
this it,
the
it went.
information.
And maybe they just didn't relay it to him. But now we're putting it out there. Okay, Spike Lee. We've got tons of information for you to write about. You know, we've got tons of information for you to write about.
Yeah, we
So,
need we need more production companies, you know.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we have Spike, we have uh the minister TJ, what's his name? Big
Who?
famous manager. He's doing movies now.
Who?
Someone out there probably knows who I'm talking about. Jake's
TD Jakes?
yes, he's doing
Mm.
movies now. Uh
Mm.
Spike Lee. We just need more
Mm-hmm.
so we can tell our own stories.
Right.
You know, it doesn't have to be a guideline per se to
Mm-hmm.
get people in. You know,
Yeah.
they have their guidelines. Oh, comedies make certain percent of money. Oh, you may want to do a horror story because people like to be scared, and that does better at the box office. You know, that type of
Mm-hmm.
philosophy and thinking, we need to get past that. So, we may not become rich, but at least our stories are getting out there, you know?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And that's what it's about, getting the
Yeah,
story out there.
yeah,
Getting
exactly.
stories, plural, out there. Hmm.
Exactly. You
Yeah,
know, I like to see us have like a history channel or a
exactly.
Smithsonian channel, our own
Mm,
way, our own stories, our
true.
own research, anthropology, archaeology. It just would be wonderful. So we have to
Mm.
work hard to make.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's work in progress. It takes a lot of a lot of finance. Um, one day at a time. Maybe we could work on a GoFundMe or something. Something like that.
you
Try to make it
know,
happen.
teaching is a wonderful thing,
Hmm.
and to have so many people receptive to what you're
Yeah.
trying to do. Tyler
Right.
Perry. Yeah, I named Tyler, I think. Did I? Did I,
No.
Adrian?
Mm-mm.
I thought I would. In my mind, I said Tyler Perry.
Yeah.
I know I said T.J. Jakes and Spike Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, those are some of the things that we've got on the agenda. Documentaries, movies, you know. I had already started on the documentary years ago, many, many years ago. I've got interviews. Matter of fact, I've got interviews for that documentary of elders who are not even with us anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how far back, you know,
Wow.
that stuff goes. When I was, recording for the documentary.
Well, I have two friends that were supposed to be in a series in Atlanta, Georgia, and they were supposedly gotten up the funds to do a Black Indian series.
Mm,
But I don't know what happened. It didn't develop. I
hmm,
mean, this was over the winter time, not that long ago,
yeah.
and it was supposed to take place very close to me. I was going to try to go on, sit on the set, and take in as much as
Mm,
I can, but I haven't heard anything else about that project.
hmm.
So that's what happens when you have to raise, your own funds. You can't depend on these bureaucracies to support you with so much racism and so much control of media. You have to
Mm,
raise and do your own thing.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we just wanted to test out this live. Before we go, we want to send our condolences to the family of one of the elders who just recently passed away last week.
I
Medicine
hope.
woman, Margarita Prompanas, aka Medicine Woman. Um, she passed away last week. So sorry to say. And
Yeah, she was a
her,
good friend.
yeah, her funeral is tomorrow. Um, it's just a sad thing. Um,
Well, if you go tomorrow, perhaps they have a few pictures of her that we
I
could,
got you. I got you.
okay,
I got
we
you.
could post to give her honor.
I surely will. I surely will. You know. Um, so sad to hear. But
She was a
yeah,
beautiful spirit.
a beautiful spirit. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we want to send those condolences out there um, to the family and honor her memory. And after I get the program, I will share that in honor of her.
And maybe you could see if her daughter has any pictures of her in the circle dancing or speaking or anything that we could add. Um,
True, true.
that would be very nice.
Yeah,
She made
yeah,
such a big impact in the Native community.
exactly.
Everyone loved her.
Yeah, yeah.
She was my elder.
Right, right. I could see her dancing now.
Yeah,
I could see her dancing at the
champion.
powwow. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Amazing.
So that would really be appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And don't forget the information that I sent you
Oh yeah.
to
Don't
send
forget.
to the person that requests that.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
I
Oh, you had
enjoyed
something
being
else?
with you,
Yeah.
Fierce Truth Seeker. I know you're going
Yeah.
to have other guests on here, and your godmother's like you're a kind of co-host.
Oh yeah. For sure. For
But
sure.
I'm
You
looking
already
forward
know.
to your next show. I'm looking forward to talking to some of the beautiful people on here again. Their input was very important to me.
Yep.
and I hope they continue to support you and what you're trying to do. And hopefully, you can get up a GoFundMe for activities that I'm sure they will appreciate
Oh
what you
yeah.
will bring forth.
Oh yeah. Like I said, I have interviews with elders who are not even with us anymore. But what the thing is, what I need is, because that stuff is so old, it's on analog. It's not
Oh,
even on
yes,
digital.
I remember.
You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got going all the way back. I still have an interview that that I did with Don Eagle.
Oh, you really? You still have it?
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
somewhere
would
around
love to
here.
see that.
Yeah, it's somewhere around here. But like I said,
Oh, my
it's
friend.
yeah. Then we remember we did that. We did
Oh,
that interview. We did that right there in what was that? Burger King, I think it was.
oh,
Yep.
oh,
Yep. I still have that around here somewhere. I have to
oh,
look
my
around, but it's
goodness.
yeah, but it's on it's analog. It's on a VHS.
Oh my.
So
That's how far back we go.
I need the technology to convert. A lot of those entities. Do you remember Kicking Bear?
Yes, I
I
remember
still
kicking beer.
I have an interview around here with Kicking Bear.
Oh, wow.
He's-
Wow.
and now for the audience, these are people who are no longer with us anymore. They're deceased. They're going on to the ancestors. You know, um, Raven's father. I did an interview with Raven's father.
Oh, yeah. Where's
And
Raven?
they are related to um they are related to Crazy Horse.
Crazy Horse, yeah.
Yep, I did an interview with him, and he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, um, yeah, I got all of that stuff in the archive, man. I want to put it all in a documentary. You know, oh, a lot of elders who are not no longer with us. I have them.
Well, you better
Um,
keep me around for a while.
Definitely, you already know.
Buy me
Oh yeah,
plenty of yogurt.
yeah,
I'm a, I'm a
yeah.
yogurt eating fool.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, I love me some yogurt too. Oh yeah, yeah.
And
But
I just started a new YouTube channel.
oh yeah, tell the viewers about your YouTube channel. You got a sister
I just
channel.
have an introductional video on there that I put together, but it's called Native Voices Turtle Island. So I'll be interviewing and doing things on there as your sister channel. I'll be interviewing probably all phenotypes of Indian people.
So your it's Native Voices Turtle Island, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
inspired me to you inspired me to get back out there. I used to do.
Nice, nice. Yeah. But I put it in the chat. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, I'm gonna put it up there. So Firebird's YouTube channel, Native Voices Turtle Island.
Yeah.
Okay, Frida M just subscribed a Firebird to your channel.
Oh, bless her little heart.
Yeah,
I like for you to interview some of your guests as well, their stories or what
hmm
they know, what they're trying to learn, just
yeah.
to hear their voices. Everyone counts.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You know, um, and that's what it's about. We got another somebody is asking a question. Let me post this. Have you ever met Dr. Airy, in my eyes. You gotta pardon my eyes.
Erie
Um,
Dixon, Saponi
Airy,
Nation.
Airy Dixon Saponi. That name sounds familiar.
No, I haven't, but I would definitely love to.
That name sounds familiar though.
Could he be a guest on Fierce Truth Seekers show? That would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And what Case Stowe, can you elaborate on this particular doctor? Any information about him or her? Okay, and Cobra Assassin just subscribed to your channel as well. Follow.
Cobra. All right. Sounds fierce.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
Cobra. That's that.
Cobra
That's that
Assassin.
Naga. Cobra. Yeah.
Bless your little heart, Cobra.
Yep. Um. Yeah, but yeah. If you have any information, Case though, about the doctor, let us know. We'll look him up. But that name sounds familiar though. Name does sound familiar. I just can't.
What type of doctor?
Oh, it says
Doctor
he's
of
here. He's here in
PhD
New
or
York.
medical?
K Stowe said he's here in New York.
What type of doctor? PhD or medical or okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because he can easily come on the show through
Yeah. Well,
technology, email.
right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. We'll look into him. I'll look
I
him
would
up.
like to interview some of your audience as well.
Sure. Yeah. Some of them are subscribing now. Um. Some of them are subscribing now. So definitely. Firebird's gonna have content on there regularly, and you can leave your information um, with her, and she'll gladly have you on the show.
He's an historian. Okay.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. PhD. um yeah, yeah. Now, is he? Yeah, that's I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I think that is Sacagawea's friend. I think
Oh.
she was trying to put me in contact with him. That's where I know they
Oh.
that's where I know that name from.
So
But I don't know. I don't know if he is still with us. She says she doesn't know if he's even still around, still alive. Um she wasn't sure. She said she hadn't heard from him in a while. Yeah, I think that's Mother Koala's friend who she tried to put me
oh
in contact with years ago.
yeah.
Find out if he's still alive. I hope he is.
Why don't you give her a call
I'll give her a
tomorrow?
call. I'll do that. I do owe her a call. Um, I spoke to her about a month ago. It's about time for me to give her another call.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
We had
Mm-hmm.
long discussion about her indigenous library dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because Mother Koala she had the museum upstate. You know, I
Yes, I
remember.
remember.
I went up there with her. That's she's been trying to get that kicked off. For the longest, but she has the space. It's still, I think it's still up there.
Yeah, the building is still there.
hmm
Uh,
Nice
she's
building.
she's actually she's trying to move to Connecticut
Connecticut. Yeah.
and maybe get an indigenous library going.
Right. Yeah. K Stowe is having trouble finding the new channel. Um,
Native Voices, Turtle Island.
yeah, Native Voices, Turtle Island. It's that if you type that in, it's definitely gonna come up because I subscribed just earlier today, and a couple other people in the chat just subscribed.
It's not voice, it's voices, Turtle Island.
Native Voices, Turtle Island. Yeah, Native Voices, Turtle Island. I'll highlight that again, just for clarity. Give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm putting it back up there again. Native Voices, Turtle Island.
Yeah, I would love to interview some of your guests,
Yeah, yeah, that'll be great. And
what they know about their families, or
I was just about to say that.
you know.
Get the discussion. Let people share genealogies. See, there may be some people who may be able to find family members. Because a lot of people express that they're trying to do their family trees and stuff like that. Um, you know that's very important too. Getting your family tree done, doing your genealogy, that's very important. You know, People try to say you're not this and that. You can present your facts. Well, here's the Carfax. Here's the
Yeah, that
Carfax.
would be wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're gonna sign off now. I got to get up early to go to the funeral service tomorrow. You know, um, just wanted to share a little bit with the family, and we're gonna continue this discussion because it's an ongoing discussion, and there's a lot to talk about in regards to paper genocide, and you can't really cover all bases in just a couple of hours or one show. You know, so we're gonna continue this discussion. This is part two. We're gonna do part three. You know, um,
A continuation of history would be awesome.
hmm hmm and keep it going because we have tons of information. There's definitely no shortage of information. I mean, I go on for a whole year. I could do a whole year's worth of shows just dealing with that topic of paper genocide alone. you know, Seriously, it's just that extensive. You know, Um, so we're gonna close out now. And Firebird, you have any closing words?
I wish you all a safe journey in your travelings. Be safe. We love you. And may the Creator bless and keep every one of you. Wado.
All right. So yes, family, it was a pleasure having you all. I thank all of those who tuned in. Okay, and you're much appreciated. And
And Mick, you can give them not on screen, but in private, give them my email.
yeah, um, you
Whoever
want to?
wants it.
Okay, in
You know,
private.
I don't want to announce it on the screen, just because of the things that we discussed, the racism, the hating, and
Yeah. Well, I don't have any way to do it other than public. Um, so if you want to, just I don't know how you want to do that.
well, if they don't mind giving you theirs, if
Mhm.
not, we'll do the best we can on the show. You know,
Okay.
just that
All righty.
simple.
Yeah. So we're gonna close out now, and until the next time,
Donna
Dona
da,
Dog
Gahani.